This Jacksonville, Florida UFO footage, which was officially released by Secureteam on a video we posted on July 18th, is to this day one of the most controversial UFO sightings we've seen or ever posted on, next to the recent Texas Cube footage that we published. These sightings are ramping up, and since our original posting of the unstabilized version of this footage here over Jacksonville, showing this craft, and what's even more interesting, and which we didn't mention in the first video, is that this craft looks mysteriously similar to the so-called Black Knight satellite, which is also believed to have been caught in a set of 1998 NASA images. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Black Knight satellite is believed to be an artificial alien object or satellite that has been orbiting the Earth since the 50s, or at least it was first discovered in the 50s. It's believed to be around 13,000 years old and is of an extraterrestrial origin, and it's orbiting us right now in near polar Earth orbit. In 1954, when newspapers including the St. Louis Post-Dispatch and the San Francisco Examiner ran stories attributed to retired naval aviation major and UFO researcher Donald Keyhoe, saying that the U.S. Air Force had reported that 2 satellites orbiting Earth had been detected. The problem is that at this time, no one had the technology to launch a satellite. In February 1960, there was a further claim by Time that the U.S. Navy had detected a dark object orbiting Earth that they had first thought was a Soviet spy satellite in orbit, inclined at 79 degrees from the equator with an orbital period of 104.5 minutes. Its orbit was also highly eccentric, with an apogee of 1,728 kilometers and a perigee of only 216 kilometers. Not only that, but in tracking the object, it was noted that this satellite would change its orbit from day to day, as if to be under intelligent control. This thing was moving in space and changing its course while it orbited Earth, to the point that they couldn't track it, or its next move. They didn't know what this thing was, and they still don't, and the government has been fast to try to cover it up. In 1998, an object was photographed, and some NASA images from the STS-88 mission, which have been widely known and seen as one of the best pieces of photographic UFO evidence that we have depicting the Black Knight in all of its wonder and mystery. According to the NASA trolls, who I guess truly believe that we are as stupid as they think, claim that what you're seeing here in this NASA image from the ST-88 mission, which by the way is an obvious, hard, structured craft with detailed characteristics, is probably, and I quote, a thermal blanket that was confirmed lost during an EVA. So real quick before we continue, here is a list of some facts and info about the Black Knight satellite that will bring you up to speed on the entire deal and help you in your own research. According to monitoring agencies around the world, the Black Knight satellite has been transmitting radio signals for over 50 years now. The USA and Soviet Union have shown particular interest in this unidentified space object. Rumors are that it was Nikola Tesla, the first man to intercept a signal from the Black Knight satellite in 1899 after building a high-voltage radio device in Colorado Springs. Since the 1930s, astronomers worldwide have been reporting strange radio signals which allegedly come from the Black Knight. In 1957, an unknown object was seen shadowing the Sputnik 1 spacecraft. According to reports, the unidentified object was in polar orbit. But in 1957, the United States nor the Russians possessed the technology to maintain a spacecraft in polar orbit, with the first polar orbiting satellite being launched in 1960. Polar orbits are often used for Earth mapping Earth observation, capturing the Earth as time passes from one point, and reconnaissance satellites. This would put the Black Knight in the category of an observational satellite. In the 1960s, the Black Knight satellite was located once again in polar orbit. Astronomers and scientists calculated the object's weight to be over 10 tons, which would be at the time the heaviest artificial satellite in orbit around our planet. Not only that, but the Black Knight's orbit was unlike any other object orbiting Earth. The Grumman Aircraft Corporation gave much importance to this mysterious satellite. On September 3, 1960, 7 months after the satellite was first detected by radar, a tracking camera by Grumman Aircraft Corporation's Long Island factory took a photograph of the Black Knight satellite. The Grumman Aircraft Corporation formed a committee to study the data they received from the observations made, but nothing was made public. In 1963, Gordon Cooper was launched into space. On his final orbit, he reported seeing a glowing green object in front of his capsule in the distance moving towards his spacecraft. A ham radio operator who apparently decoded a series of signals received from the UFO satellite interpreted it as a star chart centered in the Epsilon Boots star system. According to the decoded message, the Black Knight originated from this very star system 13,000 years ago. The striking resemblance of the Black Knight to the craft that was recorded over Jacksonville, Florida, begs the question that there's a real possibility that the Black Knight satellite is not only real, but that it also has the capability of coming out of its Earth orbit to visit us down here on the surface for an unknown purpose. A fan of ours was kind enough to send us in a stabilized set of videos of the Jacksonville UFO, showing this thing maneuver without the camera shake, and we were and are astounded by what we saw and what you are seeing now throughout this video. The way this craft moves and its mysterious resemblance to the Black Knight leads us to believe that what we've caught here is of a much bigger significance than we can ever imagine. So at this point, I would ask all of you to share this stabilized footage of what is quite possibly the Black Knight satellite, and let's get people talking again about this story, because it very well may be one of the best sightings we have in this search for truth, and if true, will be extremely damaging to the government's cover-up and their hope that we would all forget about this story. So get it out there, subscribe, and stick with us, and we'll see you back real soon. Stay safe, guys.